Readers, and welcome back to our online classroom. Today we are going to learn the third big question to use when reading nonfiction text. Remember, over the past couple of weeks, I've been teaching you that a way to increase your ability to comprehend nonfiction text is to take a questioning stance before you start reading. We have already learned two questions. Those are what surprised me and what did the author think that I already knew. And today you are going to learn the third question, which is what challenges, changes, or confirms what I already knew. And while this is the last question that I'm going to teach you, in many ways it is the most important one. To get started, I want you to think about this. Have you ever thought that you are not going to like a new food, and then you tried it and you discovered that you did? So what would have happened if you were not willing to try that new food? What I'm trying to get you to understand is that being open to change is important. That willingness to have an open mind about things is true for much of your life, including the things that we will learn about when we read. In fact, when you're reading nonfiction and you're wondering, what has challenged, changed, or confirmed what I already knew? You'll discover that you're reading that nonfiction more attentively and more carefully. So this is a good thing to use when you want to comprehend nonfiction text. So today, the objective is that by the end of this video, students will be able to use the nonfiction reading strategy, what challenges, changes, or confirms what I already knew, to identify how the text shapes their thinking. To review, again, I'm teaching you that when you're reading, you cannot just hope to understand what you're reading. You have to have strategies to make your brain understand it. And one of the things that I'm teaching you can do is to approach reading with a questioning stance. That means having questions in your mind as you start to read that will help you take in and understand the new information. We have learned two questions so far: what surprised me and what did the author think that I already knew? And as I said, today you'll be learning the third question, which is what challenges, changes, or confirms what I already knew. This is all about the knowledge that you bring to the reading every time that you start to read. As you're reading, I want you to think about these prompts. At first I thought, but I had to rethink. My understanding changed when, or I was right or wrong about this. Nonfiction text is trying to teach you something. It's trying to give you new information. But you come to text with a lot of information already in your head. Thinking about what you already know and what you're reading about can help you take in that new information and be critical of it. So I want to show you some examples, and then you'll get a chance to try on two articles this week. Here's an example. I was reading this article about how our brains learn, and I came upon this statement. It says this: any athlete will tell you this. If you're competent at something and you start thinking about it, especially at a detailed level, you're just dead in the water. This confirms something that I already knew because I am a runner, and I know that I know how to run pretty fast when I want to, but if I get in my own head about it and I start thinking so much about it during a race, then my performance actually starts to drop. So if I were going to annotate this, I would highlight it in the text and I would say this, wow, I'm upside down. This confirms what I already know about performance. If I get in my own So I wrote, this confirms what I already know about performance. If I get in my own head about something, then my performance suffers. Now that's a good annotation because it's helping me to connect to the text. Here, let me show you another example. I'll have to turn this one around too. Okay, in another article, this one was about climate change. I read this sentence. The report warned that climate change impacts are already severe, pervasive, and irreversible. Now, that was challenging what I understood about climate change. I had understood that if we didn't start doing some things here in the United States and around the world, then eventually climate impacts might become severe, pervasive, and irreversible. But this sentence was suggesting this had already happened, that it was too late. This challenged my understanding. So I'll say this challenges what I thought about climate change. I did not think that impacts were already irreversible, meaning that the harm is done and cannot be undone. So I didn't think that the impacts were already irreversible. Now, I could keep reading on the article to find out more information. I could also do more research and figure out if this author is correct or if I was correct. But right now, I'm just going to say that this is challenging what I think about climate change. Okay, I have one more example for you. This one is about a whole article that I read called Chinese Groups Design an App to Help Environmentalists Take on Polluters. This was an interesting article. It was about air pollution in China. Now, I've read about this and I understand that not only is pollution a health problem, but that often the government in China does not give its citizens accurate information about the problem. But when I read this article, it explained that the Chinese president agreed to cap emissions of carbon dioxide and improve its use of renewable fuels. The article also explained that the Chinese were going to be more accurately reporting air pollution. It also said that China has decided to build 60 new nuclear energy plants to provide clean energy. As we read all that China is beginning to do, we realized that we had to change our thinking about China's commitment to improving air quality. It appears that the leadership there might be committed to addressing this critical problem. So I'm going to say this changes what I thought about the leadership and government in China. And that's fine. Sometimes when you read something that changes your mind. And we want to take note of it when that happens. So when I read those articles and asked myself what challenges, changes, or confirmed what I already knew, I was able to think more deeply about what I was reading. And I think that's perhaps because I wasn't just reading the facts on the page. I was thinking about how that information fit with what I already knew. It helped me to make the reading more relevant to me, and it helped me to get information out of the text. It's your turn to try this. This week you have 2 articles that I would like for you to read. I want you to read it, and as you do, I want you to look for information that changes your thinking or perhaps confirms something that you already knew. Mark those places and perhaps jot some notes down by typing in StudySync. When you're finished, you're going to submit your assignment so that I can see your thinking. As always, if you have any questions about this strategy or you're still unsure about what to do, you can watch this video again to see my examples, or you can call one of your teachers over and we can help you more one-on-one. Thanks, readers. I hope you find this strategy useful, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.